Hello, my name is Dean Contover, and this is the Current Buzz. Thank you for watching today. Today we have Dr. Lang. He's the Superintendent of Schools in Chelmsford, Massachusetts. We're going to talk about the elephant in the room in regards to the Massachusetts School Building Authority, called the MSBA. We're going to talk about that. And first, I want to ask him a question. How long have you been superintendent?
Well, thank you, Dean, for having me back on. So this is my 9th year. I'm just completing my 9th year in Chelmsford.
Wow.
So yeah, time goes quick.
Yeah, and so you're going to be here at least another 20 years? Is that
20 might be pushing it.
Okay.
But, no, I will be here for the foreseeable future.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. That's cool.
No, I've very much enjoyed my time here. And,
good.
Many more years to go.
And we enjoy you being
you.
superintendent.
Thank you. I very much have enjoyed it. It's a great community. We have a lot of good things going on in Chelmsford, and I'm happy to be here working.
I know you worked in the local school system and you came to Chelmsford. Are you finding that half the people who live in Chelmsford are from Lowell?
There are a lot.
Yeah.
No, there were definitely a lot of Lowell folks that kind of relocated and moved to Chelmsford over the years.
Right.
I still live in Lowell now, kind of grew up in Lowell, but I always had friends from Chelmsford. We had a lot of Lowell families that moved out to Chelmsford.
Right.
So no, there's a lot of people you see, and no, it's a great place, great community.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, the elephant in the room is the Mass School Building Authority.
Yeah. Very happy.
First, we were talking about initially, I remember a few years ago, we were talking about building a high school. Now it's a middle school.
Right.
Can you tell me what the change is and why the change happened?
Sure. So we actually have been looking for a potential new school building project in town for quite some time.
Yeah, that's true.
As a community, we haven't actually built a new school in over 50 years.
Wow.
The high school is ironically our newest school, and it's 50 years this year. So that's pretty significant. And there's been a lot that's changed in Chelmsford over the time. And what we're actually dealing with right now is enrollment increases in the district. So a lot of districts in the state are seeing a little bit of a declining enrollment, particularly after COVID. But as a district, we're actually seeing our enrollment increase. So last year we added about 70 additional students to the district. This year we added about 65 additional students to the district. And our projection, we work with a company that actually helps us do like a demographic study to figure out like what's happening long term. And over the next 10 years, we're estimated to increase about another 800 students in the district. So we're physically already at capacity. We don't have room to be able to properly educate all of the kids we are going to have over this 10 years. So the school committee administration started looking at a potential new school building project. And originally we thought about potentially doing a high school project. And if we were able to build a new high school, we then could have relocated the two middle schools into the old high school, or the current high school, so that they would have received a new facility. And we could have taken one of the middle schools offline and then converted the other school to be like a fifth kind of elementary school because we needed that extra capacity. We applied for 4 years in a row to the state for that, and it's a competitive process where they take a look at everyone in the state that's applied for a high school, and they award the funding based on whoever's in the worst shape. And our building is actually very well maintained. While it is 50 years old, we were competing against high schools that were over 100 years old. And clearly, our application just wasn't going to come forward in time to be able to really kind of help us. So we had a group come back and work with us and say, if we can't get a high school project, what would be maybe the next best thing for town? Because we know if we're going to do a project, it is going to be costly, and we want the state to partner with us in the cost of the facility.
Right.
So the MSBA, the Mass School Building Authority, would pay in the low 50s, so somewhere between 50 and 55% of the overall project cost, which is significant to the town. Yeah. So that's why we really need to do a project with the MSBA. We had the group come back in and say, if we couldn't do a high school, what's the next best thing that we could possibly do? And so what we actually put an application in for was a potential new middle school project. And we identified Parker because we had two options, either McCarthy or Parker. But the McCarthy building is actually just has a better layout longer term to remain as a school. Parker just had different logistical issues within the building that made it more attractive for our application. And we thought we would have a better chance of accelerating that project through the MSBA in an application. So it did take us 2 years, but this past December we were invited into what they call an eligibility period to look at a potential new middle school for town. The thought process being, if we could do a new middle school in town, we would potentially look at not only replacing Parker, which is now grades 5 and 6, but possibly building a new building grades 4, 5, and 6. What that would allow us to do is actually take the 4th grade out of the elementary schools. That would free up about 100 students per elementary school up into the new building. And that would actually help us with our space. So that would help us with our elementary enrollment over the next 10 to 20 years, because we'd be opening up 4 to 6 classrooms at each of the elementary schools. They would then become K to 3. You would move to the kind of the lower middle school for grades 4, 5, and 6, and we would build that to accommodate all of the numbers. You would then go on to McCarthy for 7 and 8, and again, that building was the old high school, so
Right,
it has
it
more
was.
room in it. We can accommodate the numbers at that school for 2 grade levels, so that would stay 7, 8, and then you would go off to the high school for 9 to 12. And again, the high school is in very good shape. The town has maintained it. We were just trying to figure out kind of a one-school solution to addressing our enrollment needs with the elementary, middle, and high school. But we think actually this other possibility that we're coming up with the middle school, obviously the state is going to look to support us with that, and that's going to help us financially. But it also accomplishes our needs of being able to address the enrollment, short and long term, at the elementary and middle school levels of the district in one project. So that's very exciting for us. We're in what the MSBA calls the eligibility period. So we have to take a look at our enrollment projections. We have to take a look at different, it's a paperwork type process, so sign-offs. If we're going to partner with the state on things, we would have to put a building committee together. So that work is going to begin in earnest around April 1st and run until December 31st. What we would look to do during that,
Of what year?
this coming year.
This coming year,
9 months.
2024.
Yeah, of course,
I just want to get on record that
Yes,
2024.
yes, no. So
yeah.
the eligibility period would be in '24, about a 9-month period where we would do all of this work. And in the end, what we hope for is to receive funding. We'll be going to town meeting in April to fund the feasibility study, which would look at over the course of about a year and a half. So this is going to get us into 25 and 26. Take a look at all the different options. And does our option make sense? You know, would we be better off building just a new grade 5 and 6 school? We have to go through all these different iterations with the state. But I think it's really a very exciting time for us. We obviously know these students are coming, and we have to be able to properly house and educate them in the buildings. If we're able to partner with the MSBA and have them cost share and pay for at least half of the project with us, I think it could be a win-win for the town.
Are we going to keep it the name Parker?
Yeah, so that's always you know, up in the air. So you can keep the same name. I don't see why we would change it, to be honest with you.
No, I just want to tell you a little story.
Sure.
My daughter went to the Parker Middle School, and when we traveled through the Midwest and out west, I would tell people that her school was named after a Minuteman.
Okay.
And they thought it was the coolest thing.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean,
Yeah,
that's
so
why I
there's
wanted
no
to know.
need to change the name. We would normally just move the name onto the new school.
Right.
But yes, that'll all be kind of in the works. It is a lengthy process, though.
Right.
So like I said, we do have the next 9 months where we're in what's called eligibility, and then we would move for about a year and a half into feasibility. And if all goes well on that front, it would probably be the fall of '26 when we would come back to the town.
Okay.
And we would have estimates of what the new school building would cost, exactly what the grade level configuration would be, and we'd be seeking the town's support for a debt override or debt exclusion to be able to fund that project. And then if all went well with that, sometime during the spring of '27, you would be putting all of your bid documents together, you'd be going out to bid, you would start to begin the build, and it would be probably wrapped up between 2030 and 2031. So, you know, it's still a good 6 to 7 years away,
Wow, yeah.
and it's a long process you have to follow. But this would help us as a community over the next 10 to 20 years be able to address our enrollment needs, and it would provide a great new educational space for the community. Again, we haven't done a new building in quite some time, and I really think it's a good opportunity to be able to have the state partner with us and pay for a lot of the cost and benefit the town in the long run.
So once it's built and once it's going, then you can retire.
Then I can retire at that point. Yes, I feel, you know, I'd love to see
Yeah.
a school building project
Yeah,
forward.
no, that's
I
understandable.
participated when I worked in Lowell previously on several school building projects around construction and working with the MSBA. I very much enjoy that work, and I'd love to work with our community to kind of vision what a new school would look like, how it could best serve the staff and students and families in our community. It's an exciting project for me, and that is one I would love to do before I think about retiring. To be able to do that and have a new school project, I think would be very exciting.
Do we know where the foundation would be of the school? And
No, we don't. So that's something that would
That's-
have to be vetted out through what they call the feasibility stage. So when you bring a project manager on, you bring an architect on, you have to look at all the different available options
I
where
see.
you would build. some that have been proposed, potentially, you do want to build on town-owned property, because if you have to acquire property, that's an extra
Eminent
cost.
domain
right?
possibly,
Eminent domain and extra cost.
Exactly.
So, some have said, would you look at the lot that's right next to the school? And oftentimes you do build the school on an adjoining lot, and then you knock the old building down, and that becomes your open space and your field space, so that's a possibility. There is open land behind McCarthy Middle School, up in the back corner of the property. And where you are talking about a grade 3, 4, 5, and I'm sorry, 4, 5, 6, and then a 7, 8, to have them be similarly close to each other certainly wouldn't hurt, so that's a possibility. Across the way, across from the softball field and the baseball field, there's some room in the back there for a potential school. So it would likely be town property. It would be centrally located because, again, all of our busing would be running centrally into the center of the town. But
I mean, you would have to have some configurations probably off of Davis Road or something coming into the school or something like that.
Yeah, and again, like traffic studies and exactly what traffic flow would look like, where is the optimal place to build, where would be the most economical, what might propose challenges, that would all get vetted out through the feasibility stage. And then ultimately, we would have a package that we would recommend that would go to the MSBA, because they would have to vote to say, yes, we think this is the best solution for the town, and we're willing to pay, half of it. And then the town would have to vote and say, yes, we agree with this solution, and, we're going to fund the other half.
When I was growing up, all the new schools didn't have air conditioning.
Right.
Now air conditioning is calming, and it's cheaper, I believe, to put in place with heating and air conditioning.
Right.
Is that a possibility that this school would be?
It certainly is, yeah. Okay. Most of the new schools we are building across the state typically do have air conditioning in them. It's much more economical to put it in during the initial build than it is to go into some of our older buildings and retrofit air conditioning. So I definitely think that would be a consideration. But again, that would be vetted through the whole feasibility stage, because we would hold community input sessions to find out from students and staff and community members what they'd like to see in this new space. How can it be best used during the school day? How might the community be able to use the space after hours? Oftentimes, as a community center or a different kind of a hub
or
of
teaching,
a whole bunch of different things, but we'd want to get the
adult education classes or something.
Yep, evening classes, things like that. We have a very robust community ed program. Maybe there are things that they could use in the space. But we would want to vet all of that through the feasibility stage.
Cool.
But it's really an exciting time. I'm excited about it. And I'm looking forward to working on that.
I'm excited to be on the building committee.
Yeah, well, we'll be looking for people in the springtime, hopefully right after town meeting.
Cool.
We will be hosting a number of different public information sessions to fill the public in on the school. We're going to make sure that they're televised and recorded, so that if you can't make a public information session, you can watch a replay of the tape.
On Chelmsford Telemedia, right?
Chelmsford Telemedia.
I just want to get that in.
Yeah, no, we really want the community members to know that what we're thinking about, what the process is going to be like, and if you can't attend, maybe you have an opportunity just to watch one of the tapes to acclimate yourself with what we're talking about.
I have a whole litany of things that I want to ask you, and I know that
we'll go right down.
I know that we don't have time. Accreditation, the Chelmsford High School has gone through or is going through accreditation.
So accreditation is, right now, the process changed a little bit. It's a continual process. So every 10 years you have your big accreditation team. And a few years back we had the team come into Chelmsford High School. They do a full review of the curriculum and the programs and the different offerings. And now they give you little pieces to work on. NEASC is the name of the group, New England Association of Schools and Colleges, I believe is the acronym. They come in with a team of other school officials from other districts. They take a look at it, and they give you different things to work on. So it's not like it used to be they'd come every 10 years, they'd give you a report, and then they'd go away. Now every 2 years, they come back and take a look at what you said you were going to do. Are you actually doing it? Is there now something else that needs to happen? So we just hosted the team about a week and a half ago, and they came back in for their 2-year review of what Chelmsford High School said that they were going to be doing. So we'll likely get the report within 60 or 90 days. And they'll point out if we're going in the right direction, if there's things we need to take another look at, or if they've identified additional areas that need to be worked on over the next 2 to 3 year cycle. And then they'll come back at the 5-year point, and then they'll come back at the 10-year point. So now it's kind of a continual improvement cycle. But the high school's in very good shape on that front. When we received the initial report, again, it scored very well. I think they were very impressed
I
with the
think-
offerings we had, the supports we have for our students and families. It's a great high school.
I think you're right. I did some research a while back, and about Chelmsford High School was 2,000 out of 17,000 high schools in the country, and Chelmsford was rated in the 2,000 in the.
Yeah, I don't
less
know
than
the
2,000
exact, the
something.
national-wide rating,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I know, nationally, schools in Massachusetts rank very high
Right.
on national scoring, but then even locally on like statewide scoring. Chelmsford, again, because of its program offerings, because of its
Right.
class size ratios, they offer a tremendous program for kids, and it's a very well-received program.
That's why you have school choice. And explain school choice to people out there who might want.
Yeah, so the school choice program basically allows a district, and we participate. You can either say you want to participate or you don't, but we say we want to. If you have additional space within your buildings, and we do have some at the high school level, you can designate a number of spaces that you want to make available for students who don't live in Chelmsford to attend your high school.
That means Lowell, Drake,
Drake, and well,
whatever.
technically anywhere in the state.
Oh, is that right?
Yes. However, the parents have to provide the transportation. The
Right.
district doesn't.
Right.
So geographically,
Which is understandable.
it'd be hard for someone outside the Merrimack Valley
Right.
to drive their child to.
And usually after their sophomore year, the people get a license and they can use a
Kids,
family car.
yes, I mean, sometimes they certainly do, but
Yeah.
we typically draw from the greater Merrimack Valley.
Okay.
So we designate a number of spots each year because we have, again, capacity at the high school. The district benefits, we receive $5,000 of funding from the district that's sending the student to us.
I see.
So if Lowell is sending a child to us, we receive $5,000 from
Oh.
Lowell for that child. And overall, we try to maintain about 40 school choice spots. So we know that that's going to generate about $200,000 of revenue. And we have earmarked, the school committee and I have earmarked that funding to pay for the 101 computer initiative that we have, where all of our middle and high school students receive a laptop from the district.
Right.
That actually pays for the lease for the laptop of the district.
Oh.
So we try to maintain about 40 kids coming into the schools through school choice, and we use that revenue to offset the costs associated with the 101 computer initiative.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's,
Yeah, so that's all kind of laid out in the budget. I think we're welcoming, I believe, 11 new students to the district for the coming year.
So that's different grades or just high school?
We
or?
take them in as incoming ninth grade students.
Okay.
Because we'd like them to come in as a cohort and then actually continue on through Chelmsford High School.
Okay.
So they come in as ninth graders and then they stay with us for the 4 years.
Well,
What we take a look at is how many seniors are we graduating, and then how many do we need to kind of backfill to be able to keep the 40. And as long as there's enrollment at the high school, we're able to do that.
Yeah.
But that's worked very well for us. The kids get a great experience. They're treated like, Chelmsford High School students.
Mm-hmm.
They participate in the academic programs during the day and after-school extracurriculars and sports, and it's worked out well for us. And again, it's given us a little funding source to pay for our computer initiative.
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
There's another thing. The McCarthy Middle School and the Parker Middle School have changed. The 7th and 8th grade are at the McCarthy, and the 5th and 6th grade are at the Parker. How is that working out?
Yeah, so this is the first year of that. We called it the middle school realignment. And that actually came as a recommendation when we had the group come back in to look at our facility planning and like the long-term visioning for the district. We identified some inequities within the programs offered at the two schools, and we really wanted the kids in the town to have a similar experience as they go through middle school, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we decided to realign so that all students in the district this year of grades 5 and 6 come to Parker, and all, as you said, all students in the district 7 and 8 go to McCarthy Middle School. We realigned the staff so that they went with the kids, and overall it's gone, I think, very well.
Oh, good. That's good to hear.
The family responses, the parent responses have overwhelmingly been excellent.
Oh, good.
I think the kids now appreciate the fact that they're seeing their whole peer group. Oftentimes, they might have seen friends from another part of town, at sports or extracurriculars and things like that, but now they're actually in classes with them during the day. So instead of having to wait to high school, you're actually seeing that group of kids right
cool.
from 5th grade. Certainly this first year, we're still working through some logistical issues. It was difficult for kids who were in a particular school last year who had to transition to a new school because, again, you're learning new norms and routines and whatnot. But I think the staff have gone above and beyond to make the kids feel welcomed and make those transitions as smooth as we can. District-wide, behind the scenes, we're still dealing with some logistical issues. Like one would say like busing, right? So we used to only have
29 buses.
29 buses. So
I know.
We only had, half
That's the
the
talk of the
buses
town.
go to McCarthy and half go to Parker. But now, because they're actually doing a drop at McCarthy and then they're doing a drop at Parker, physically we have to accommodate 29 buses, being able to stage and pick up kids and then move on to the next school. So that was different for us. So I think behind the scenes, as someone watching from the outside, I think it's probably moving fairly smoothly. We just know internally that we're trying to work with the different layouts, the easiest ways to get the kids between the locations. So there's more of those logistical things. But I think as the year's gone on, we've made improvements and we're going to continue to do so. But the feedback this year so far from staff and parents and students has been definitely more positive than negative.
I only have 4 minutes, believe it.
Already?
That's what they're telling me. I know,
Okay.
that's right. We didn't talk about Middlesex Community College and credits,
Yes.
et cetera. So let's talk about that.
We call it the
real quick.
dual enrollment programming, and
Okay.
this is huge for us. We're
Yes.
very excited about this. We partner with Middlesex Community College to, at Chelmsford High School, provide courses that are instructed by our own teachers. The kids take them during the regular school day at the high school, and they're earning Chelmsford High School credit. At the same time, they can be earning credits towards an associate's degree at Middlesex Community College. So we started doing this programming 5 years ago, and we originally had 10 classes that were offered through dual enrollment. And over the last 5 years, we've actually increased it to 32
Wow.
course offerings at the high school. I was looking at the numbers just for this spring. We have 500 courses that are being taken of our students at the high school, but the kids are getting dual credit. Wow. So we actually are at the point where our program of studies is built out to such a point where an incoming freshman and sophomore at the high school can technically, over the course of their 4 years at Chelmsford High School, take enough courses and credits to be able to graduate with a Chelmsford High School diploma and an associate's degree from Middlesex.
That's cool.
So, and a lot of times, when kids are going off to college, those first couple of years, they're taking a lot of their prerequisites, they're taking a more liberal arts curricula.
101 English.
Yeah, so, we're actually able to accomplish that. Wow. So then when the kids go to college, they can take more specified and specialized courses if they want. It's also saving parents money. For us, it ends up costing, and the parents do have to pay, $126 a credit. So
that's not bad at all.
For $378, a family can take a 3-credit college course, and the courses that they're earning through Middlesex are transferable to other colleges. So you're
outside the state or just within?
Yes,
the state?
inside and outside.
Oh, good.
There are certain colleges that won't accept certain courses, but the bulk of them, they're certainly all accepted through the Massachusetts system, but even with outside private schools, and my own kids have attended some, and courses have transferred in. It's been, I think, a huge success for the high school. It's opening up the door to college to a lot of students who hadn't thought of it, or it just makes it a little bit more attainable doing it on campus in Chelmsford High. So we're really excited about that. We want to continue to grow that partnership with Middlesex.
I have 2 minutes now.
Okay.
MCAS.
Sure.
People don't want MCAS. Some people want MCAS, and it might be voted on in November.
Yeah, there's always been a debate, and there probably always will, around standardized testing, and MCAS just happens to be the test that we administer in Massachusetts. There's talk of a ballot question in the fall about, MCAS and should it happen or shouldn't happen. I think, one of the things that the superintendent groups and I support have pushed for is trying to make sure that the assessments that we're giving to students happen in real time and that we receive timely feedback on the testing. So I do know that there's a commission and a number of people who are looking at what would be potentially an alternative test or better testing. I'd much rather get the data immediately or as close to the test as you can so that you can then make your changes.
Yeah.
If we're administering MCAS in the spring and then we have to wait until the fall to get the results and figure out what you might want to tweak, it's almost a little bit too late. So it's certainly like a dipstick in time to tell you how your kids performed, but it makes it a little bit more difficult when you're trying to do those corrective actions.
Good point.
Forward. So the debate will always be there.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that people will look at maybe a fresher way to assess students and use that data to help improve programming, but we'll see where that goes.
We're almost through.
Okay.
You need teachers, substitutes.
Yeah, I mean, we're always looking to hire. So we have a website that posts all of our openings. We're always looking for day-to-day staff. We're doing very well with our professional teaching and administrative staff.